What is up, guys? We are back with another episode of Bullpen Banter Podcast, and today we are going over a tier list. Ethan, we got a couple players. We're going to rank them on this tier list. Let's get at it.
Yeah, so we're going S tier down to D tier, and we're only going to be able to put two players in the S tier. The rest is free game. First player on the list, we have Mr. Trey Turner. How you feeling about Trey?
Oh man, I love Trey Turner. I think, like we said in our previous episodes, potential to win MVP. I think he's gonna be, or I like him in a B rating, B tier.
Yeah, Trey Turner's definitely a B tier guy. He has the potential to move up the rankings as his career progresses and as his stats accumulate. But as of today, I think he's a B tier player. Next up on our list, we have Yoenis Cespedes. How you feeling about Yoenis Cespedes?
Like you said, man, when I think of Cespedes, man, I think of a cannon and I think of bombs, but I don't think of longevity. I don't think of anything really too memorable. Besides that, I have him C, borderline D, probably D.
Yeah, he's really on the borderline there. His peaks were really, really high. He had an absolute cannon, which is good. Longevity wasn't there though. Like you said, he only played, I think, 8 or 9 seasons. His peak was so good, so I want to put him C. But I'm good with putting him at the very top of the D tier, I think.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
we'll put
spot
him
for
at the
him.
very top of the D tier. Okay, next up on our list, we have Jose Bautista, and kind of a similar player to Yoenis Cespedes. How you feeling about Jose Bautista?
Yeah, man, when I think of him, I think the exact same thing, but I also think of getting knocked the fuck out, unfortunately, on national television. Um, but I love Bautista. I love the Blue Jays. I think he was a great player for them. But I do think it took him a long time to break out because he was so piss poor before he got to the Blue Jays. So I would say, C, maybe even D tier as well.
Yeah, I'm good with going C tier for Bautista. He had over 300 career home runs, and it did take him all to break up, but he had a little more longevity than Cespedes had for sure. So I'm good with ranking Bautista above Cespedes for sure. Okay. Next up on our list, we have Rubnit Odor. How are we feeling about Rubnit Odor?
Sad. Uh, I'm glad that thug is out of the league. um, I'm just playing, but no, I don't really think. I think he had a couple seasons or maybe a season where he hit like 30 plus bombs, but I think that was about it. I would go with D, maybe even F tier, man. I don't got the love for him like some do.
Yeah, if we had an F tier, I would definitely put him in there. Unfortunately, it goes down to D. So, Rugnit Odor, I'm definitely good putting in the D tier. Um, Moving on from that, that's a real easy one for us, I think. Next up on our list, we have Mr. Tim Anderson. Kind of a weird career. He's the victim of a knockout punch as well. Pretty short career. It's pretty much over for him, I feel like. He played with the Marlins a little bit. He had negative WAR the past 2 seasons. His highs were really high. He won a batting title, was on some decent White Sox teams, but overall, looking on it now, I feel like he's on the level of Cespedes and Odor.
Yeah, I like that placement for him as well. I think he's also a victim of recency bias. He has been awful the past couple of seasons, so I just think, D is a good spot for him.
Yeah, D is a good spot. I was thinking C earlier, but D seems more fitting now. Okay, next up on our list, though, we have the guy who dealt that punch, Mr. Jose Ramirez, Mr. KO himself. How are we feeling about Jose?
Dude, I love Jose Ramirez. I don't know if we ever post this episode, but we might at some point. But Jose Ramirez always finishes like top five in MVP every season. He just has yet to win it. Um, I think he's an A player, though. I'll be honest. I like him. I think he's a better player than Trey Turner. I think Trey Turner's so versatile. He's so quick, and he can almost play everywhere on the field. But Jose Ramirez brings a very similar play style. He's not as fast, but he can still play all the positions. But yeah, man, I think he's an A for sure.
Yeah, Jose is definitely an A tier player. He's the definition of consistency. He's, like Scott said, unfortunately playing against Judge and Otani's of the world, so he can't win the MVP. But my God, he's just right there every year. Jose Ramirez is a World Series MVP or a World Series title away from being an S tier player, and he might go down as one when he finishes his career. But A for now. And next up on our list, Derek Jeter. We already know how I feel about Derek Jeter. You go ahead.
Yeah, I hate Derek Jeter, but men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. He's an S tier player. He's got so many World Series rings. It's hard to say anything bad about him. We can talk about his defense, but you go out there and play defense.
Literally, the man, like I was telling Scott earlier, I hate this new generation of saying this man is overrated. Whatever. Maybe he's overrated in your opinion, but if you look at just his hitting stats, the dude is one of the greatest hitters of all time. He is the Yankees all time leading hitter, which says a lot for that storied franchise. But to go with that, he's like top five in hits ever. He's in the 3,000 hit club and he's well above it. And if he stayed healthy, he had a chance at the number one spot, competing with Pete Rose for a little bit there. Career batting average over 300, clutch after clutch after clutch hit in the postseason, five World Series. He is obviously an S tier player.
Captain in New York, the last real captain in New York.
The captain. All right. Next up, we have Miguel Tejada, and yeah, Miguel Tejada. Looking back on it now, he wasn't the most memorable player, but looking at his stats and stuff, and watching some videos on Miguel Tejada, this man is a dog, and I need to get my mind right on Miguel Tejada and give him a little bit of respect. Miguel Tejada is an A tier.
A tier, yeah, man. We did a little just the smallest amount of research before we recorded, man. Honestly, super underrated superstar. Um, I wish we had more spots in the S tier because he deserves to be up there. But yeah, I think A is a great spot for him.
Yeah, Miguel Tejada was an absolute animal back in the day. But the reason we can't put him in the S tier is because we have this guy right here, Mr. Cal Ripken Jr., and in my opinion, clearly an S tier player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Iron Man of baseball. Nobody's breaking his consecutive games played record. Yeah, obvious S tier guy, lifer for
Yeah,
the Orioles.
for sure. Really good player. Won an MVP as well. Next up on our list, Jason Worth, and this was a great pull by Scott here. He added him to the list. He had some really good ones who added to this list, but Jason Worth, man, absolute animal. Don't put him against any men's fast pitch baseball leagues because he will smoke that thing 600 feet. Jason Worth had a really good career as well. Won a World Series with the Phillies and put up some insane numbers in those World Series runs. Absolutely crazy looking back on it now. You know, I remember him being good. I don't remember him being that good. This guy was a dog.
Dude, if I was a pitcher facing him during his World Series run where he was batting 444 or some shit like that, I would just go ahead and beat him every time. I would say, yeah, you know what's coming. You're getting plunked, brother. Because I'm not giving up two, three, four runs. Absolute dog. I'm torn. I want to put him in the A tier, but there's so many great players on
Yeah,
this list,
there
so
is.
I guess I'll piggyback off of your guess, what or your placement. What are you
He,
thinking?
he is a B tier player for sure, but man, if it was up to my heart, he would be an A tier player. Okay, so we got Trey and Jason Worth in the B tier now, which I think is very fitting. Next up on our list, we have Jason Giambi, and dude, Jason Giambi was a freaking beast. The dude hit nukes everywhere he went, didn't matter where he played. He hit bombs. He had a pretty high career WAR. He's up there with some of the best to ever do it. He's a good first baseman. Not great defensively, but a good first baseman. I think Jason Giambi's an A tier player.
Yeah, I agree, man. He has so many home runs. I want to say it's close to 500. I don't think he's over. I think he was finished at like 440 or something like that is what we were talking about. Just an absolute stud, just an absolute shame he got traded from the A's. But that's what happens when the Yankees are the Yankees, but they're not the Yankees anymore. Uh, but just kidding. So I think he's definitely an A player.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. 440 home runs on the dot for Giambi. So look at you go. All right, and he had a 50.5 career WAR. Yeah, he was a dog. So yeah, A tier player for Giambi for sure. Next up on our list, we have his brother Jeremy Giambi, and not only did he not have the longevity that Jason had, but he just didn't have the career he had. How do you feel about Jeremy?
Yeah, I agree with your points, man. Not a lot of longevity, not nearly the career as his brother, and I think he does fall victim of being compared to his brother because it's like you came out the same womb, brother. What you mean you can't do the same things as your your brother? But no, I think he's definitely like on the lower C tier, if not D tier. Just not the best player, especially compared to some of these other players we got.
Yeah, for sure. I think Giambi, unfortunately, is definitely D tier, and Dude, he's on that same level as Odor. Cespedes is probably the best player we have on that D tier. He maybe could have moved up to C, I guess, but no, I think Giambi's definitely a D tier player. Next up on our list, we have Giancarlo Stanton. He's going to be interesting to talk about because I could see both arguments for him. I think the argument's A and B for sure. I don't think there's no doubt about that. Um, but I think he's an A tier player. He leads all current players with career home runs. He's raking still. Yeah, the batting average isn't there. You can say he's a one trick pony, but when that one trick is hitting bombs, it helps a lot, and he does it a lot. He also has an MVP, and if he can somehow get over the hump and win a World Series with the Yankees, I think that solidifies him for sure. I got him at an A tier player.
I agree with you there. All the points that you made. I also think if he can get that illustrious World Series title on his resume, I think that moves him from. We're debating about B to A. I think that moves him from A to S.
Yeah.
I think Giancarlo Stanton, active leader in home runs. He's a dog, dude. I love watching him hit. If you play MLB The Show, absolute stud to hit with too. He hits like 900-foot home runs, but yeah, he's definitely an A tier guy for me.
Yeah, and that's interesting. A to S. I agree. If he can get to, I think he has to do two things: 500 career home runs and win a World Series. And I think he's a lock for the Hall of Fame. So having that MVP early in his career helps a lot. Boy, he was a dog with the Marlins too. All right, next up on our list, another great pull from Scott. We have Mark Teixeira, and dude, Teixeira was an animal, man, just a freaking beast. Where do you got Teixeira?
Teixeira immediately is an A. I want to say he had a 50 plus career WAR, 400 plus bombs, or maybe 500 even. I'm not too positive. But he was an absolute stud defender as well for the Rangers and the Yankees. When he was his first year on the Yankees, he was an All-Star. I want to say he won MVP or got MVP too, something like that. So he's just absolute stud. I have him at A tier, very close to the S tier because he has, he's got that hardware with the rings.
Yeah, he's got the ring with the World Series. Only a three-time All-Star, which is absolutely crazy. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me because his numbers are stupid. He had 409 career home runs, hit around 270, five times Gold Glover. He was just a beast, man, and he was consistent. You knew what you were getting out of Teixeira, and if there was people on base, he was a problem. He was a problem. So, yeah, Teixeira's an A-tier player, and, if he could have maybe had a couple more seasons and got to 500, he would be on that verge of an S tier as well. And he's a switch hitter, so even better. The last player on the list today, and I think this dude's a stud. It's gonna be interesting to see where we rank him. Hunter Pence, how you feeling about Hunter?
Hunter Pence, bro. I got his page pulled up right now. I'm looking at, he was only, four-time All-Star, so more than Teixeira, but I feel like, he kind of had he was more of a fan favorite kind of guy, to be honest. I'm looking at his WAR per season. He never went above, he did have a season where he was a 5.7 WAR achiever, for two teams. He was also an All-Star that year. I would have him in the B tier. I think, he spent a lot of seasons on the Giants that made people fall in love with his play style, his high socks. I always wanted to replicate that when I was growing up. Just playing out in the outfield. So I have him, B tier for sure, maybe even C tier. But I love him in the B.
Yeah, I love him in the B as well. I think you can make the argument for C tier, I guess, but if you have Jason Worth in the B tier, you got to have Hunter Pence. They're kind of similar type of players. Hunter Pence was just an absolute spark plug. And I think, truthfully, some of those teams, the Giants who won the World Series with him and the Phillies, so he has two rings on top of that. I don't know if those teams necessarily win in the fashion they do without a guy like Hunter Pence, sparking the team, keeping the chemistry up at all times. And like I said, he was a fan favorite, but he was also just a great teammate from everything I've ever read or heard about him. So Hunter Pence, great teammate, great player, around a 280 career average as well, so a really good hitter. I don't know if he won a Gold Glove, but I feel like he was always like on making web gems and stuff. But nonetheless, at worst, he was an average defender. So yeah, I like Hunter Pence in the B tier.
That's fair. Fair spot for him.
All right, guys. So here's how our ranking goes. In the S tier, we have Jeter and Ripken. In the A tier, we have Mark Teixeira, Jose Ramirez, Miguel Tejada, Jason Giambi, and Giancarlo Stanton. In the B tier, we have Trey Turner, Jason Worth, and Hunter Pence. In the C tier, the lone C tier, maybe we could have moved Cespedes up in hindsight, I guess. But in the C tier, we have Jose Bautista, which feels good for him. And then the D tier at the top, we have Cespedes. And then we have Odor, Tim Anderson, and Jeremy Giambi. So where do you think we got it wrong? Where do you think we got it right?
I like our list, I'll be honest. I don't think there's too much wrong with our tier list, but I think we got that connection of ball players going. So I think we got to let the comments decide where we fucked up. So let us know, guys.
Yeah, let us know, guys. Like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll see you on the next episode of Bullpen Banter. Peace.